What's up, my dudes? Another one, real quick, based on a question someone asked me on Instagram, which made my day. Someone actually likes these videos and wants to hear my opinion. This one is on injury and my approach to injury. Now, firstly, the general disclaimer: I am not a doctor. I have no formal medical training. Don't listen to me. I'm just telling you what I do myself. If you want to implement that, that's on you. So the first step, I think I've accumulated an injury or I'm in pain, is the hardest step. It is learning to differentiate between the kind of pain and injuries that just need to be trained through, that you just need to nut up and keep going and don't change your course. Stick to the program as scheduled. This is a difficult sport to train for. Powerlifting beats the shit out of you. There are going to be aches and pains that come along with chasing maximal strength. Can they be reduced? Absolutely. Should you be in crippling pain all the time? Absolutely not. People who say that are making a mistake or trying to make themselves sound cool. That being said, there are discomforts that come along with this, and there's a certain category of them that training through won't make them any worse, and it just needs to be done. Because if you stopped and backed down and deloaded every single time you had some discomfort, you would never get stronger, or you would never achieve a high level of strength. And then there's the other kind that if you train through, they will get worse and worse and worse, and they need to be addressed. And so learning to differentiate between those two is very difficult. I'm not going to lie. I think sometimes it's a lot easier than others to know if it's like, I can't even come up with a good example because I don't want to give you guys bad ideas. And like oftentimes people will skew way too far in one direction or the other. Like there's some guys I know who just do never consider it a serious injury. Will just train through, like they could fucking shatter their shin and they're going to try and squat on it the next day. And then there's also people, and no one wants to think they're in this, and no one does think they are, and there's a lot of them. And I hope someone does one day get the self-awareness to get out of this one where they think they're never supposed to be in pain, and they're, oh, I'm always injured, I gotta deload this week, gotta deload that week, I can't squat, blah blah blah. I think a lot of those are people just overestimating how much pain they're in and just need to get tougher. That's what I sound like a douchebag, and I know that, and I apologize for that. But this is a certain group of people, and the problem is those aren't the people who watch my videos. If you're watching videos on how to get stronger, you're probably a little bit more passionate than that. But that being said, I think that does tie into, there's some people who probably know too much about physiology and injury rehab for their own good, to the point where they know so much, but they're not at a high level themselves, that that's actually at a detriment to them. But once you determine if it's an injury that needs to be trained through, there's different things you can do to just mitigate the pain and continue training through. That's where ice, I think, comes into play. I'm not a fan of ice for rehabbing injury. I'm a fan of ice for pain management. So ice, stay away from painkillers generally, because you don't want to get a skewed view of what's going on, and maybe it became something that you shouldn't train through, but because you hammered a handful of ibuprofen, you don't know. Warming up extra, wearing a sweatshirt just to keep you warmer. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Like warming balms is something that has very little to no scientific backing that I am still 100% in favor of. Just the little things to mitigate the pain, but you just need to train through it. Whatever, beat yourself off about how tough you are, post some motivational pictures on Instagram. You just need to get it done however it needs to get done. But then if you have something that needs to be addressed, it's going to get worse if you push through it. My greatest motto is train around, not through. It's important to note that I didn't say stop training. You should be doing the thing. If there's things you can do pain-free, then do those. Work hard, bust ass on the things you can do pain-free. There's no reason to just take the day off. Oh, I can't squat because of my ankle. Do some fucking leg curls and bust ass on the leg curls. Do something you can do pain-free. Work around the issue, but still trying to get better in that general category, without putting yourself into pain, without worsening the injury. And that way, when you come back to training and once you're healed up, you actually are at an advantage of where you were before in some regards. You come back, you can't do something for your quad because you strain the shit out of your quad, but somehow you can still do hamstring work. Well, make it so that when you come back and your quad is healed and you can go back to back squatting, you have strong as shit hamstring. Basically try and in some way put yourself better off than you were before the small injury. and just make sure you take the time to actually fully let it heal. Don't try to jump back in early, or it'll take twice as long. I usually say, for smaller things that do need to be worked around, I'll tell people, how long do you think you need to be back to 100%, and then add 2 days. And if it's longer scale, how long do you need to be back to 100%? Add 2 weeks, and then start loading it. And don't be impatient with your loading back up to where you were. That being said, the whole working around thing, I believe, is a really, really important skill, because training through it will turn out poorly. And then completely shying away from, I'm just using squatting as an example. You have bad knees and you can't squat, and you shy away from squatting completely. I don't know how you expect to ever get better or prevent that issue from occurring again in the future. Address why it happened, and that's something I'm going to go into a totally different video, because this is already long as shit. But you want to be better off in some way. If there is a way you can do and be better, and do pain-free, get better at that than you were before. Barring if you didn't break your literally snap your back, there's something you can do pain-free. Even if it's a mental thing, get mentally stronger. Do something to put yourself in a better position than pre-injury.